All right, here we go. I think the audio is working now. Everybody, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. I think the audio is working. It was giving me a little trouble before. Sorry if you were trying to join us and you were unable to join us. It kept kicking me off. It said we have an audio issue, and apparently I'm very sorry about that. So hey, today, everybody, we are going to be talking about the Boss ME-90, the new processor from Boss. The Boss ME-80 was our most popular multi-effects pedal for string players. It's just because it sort of hits the sweet spot between usability, affordability, sound, versatility. It's got a lot of different effects in it. And it's pretty affordable. These are right around $300. And they sound really good. And they're super simple to use. What's up, everybody? Jeremy, tell us see if your wife's going to be mad at. No, man. Tell her Matt said it was okay. If you want one of these, yeah, just tell everybody that Matt said it was cool. You can have one if you want. And yeah, then get one. These are like $350. They're really affordable, and they're cool. Dig it a lot. The ME-80 was the most popular multi-effects pedal that we had for violinists, violists, and cellists. It's what Christian Howes uses. He actually was using an ME-70, and I finally bullied him into getting an ME-80. And now the ME-80's discontinued, and it's off the ME-90. I don't know if I'm going to drag him kicking and screaming into the 21st century or not. Christian is a ridiculous player, and he's so good at what he does. But he's a little like he's not on the cutting edge of the tech. And it's fine. If you can play like that, you don't have to be on the cutting edge of the tech. It's fine. I have to be on the tech because I can't play like him. So yeah, hopefully everybody's doing well. Let's talk about the ME-90 and multi-effects versus pedals. Okay, I happen to be a multi-effects guy. There are a bunch of friends of mine who I respect a whole lot that are pedal people. I like the multi-effects because it's one unit. I don't have to worry about gain structures. I don't have to power this thing with 20,000 different power supplies. I don't have to be patch cables everywhere. But I have friends that are more like the Stomp Box because they're like, man, I want a reverb, but I want this very specific reverb. I don't want a reverb. I want this reverb. So a lot of friends of mine are pedal people. Joe Denenzone, who's playing with Kansas, he's a pedal guy. Chuck Bontrager, who's the concert master for Hamilton, he's a pedal guy. I'm more of a multi-effects guy, but that's fine. I think as long as you get a good sound, it doesn't matter how you do it. But I just happen to like the multi-effects. The thing is, sometimes the simplicity of not having to worry about power supplies and patch cables and all that is offset by the fact that you have to do a fair amount of programming. Like I'm a Helix guy. There's a fair amount of programming with a Helix. The cool thing about the ME-90, and we just talked about all this stuff. The cool thing about the ME-90 is kind of the best of both worlds. It's a little bit like having a bunch of Stomp Boxes. You can get down and you can tweak on here. One of the things Joe D likes to do, he likes to get out and be changing his tones all in real time. I'm not interested in that. I'm going to push a button. I'm going to use the tone that I programmed 2 weeks ago that I was happy with then. I'm still happy with it now. He wants to get down and change stuff. In this, you can do that. You basically, each one of these little sections is like a Stomp Box. And you can treat it like a Stomp Box. Or if you find a tone you like, you can save it into the presets. And then you kind of have that, right? You can have those tones that you saved last week. Or you can put it in manual mode and you can sit there and monkey with it. So I do like this for a lot of reasons. It's nice because it's got one power supply. You don't have to worry about all these patch cables. If you're sort of new to this effects world, one of the things that freaks people out is like, well, I got 10 pedals, but I don't know what order to put them in. And there's like, I don't know, a zillion permutations of how to put which pedal. And like, you don't have to worry about that. All your pedal order in here is predetermined. It's not something you have to worry about. You don't have to worry about gain structures. Like if I turn this pedal up, is it going to overdrive this pedal? No, it's not. All this is internal. It handles all that. It's not a problem. So this is what the ME-90 looks like. I was just holding it up. You were looking at it. I don't know why I put this slide in here. It seemed last night when I was putting these together, it seemed like the thing to do. So yeah, each one is like having a stomp box. When we look at this, say, here's my delay section right here. See where it says delay? And see where this says delay? If I kick the delay thing, it turns this delay section on. The very top one selects between all these different delays, and then these are my parameters on the delay. So it's like having a delay pedal, but it's really like having 11 different delay pedals. You decide which one you want, right? And then same deal over here on your mods. You decide, do I want chorus, tremolo, flanger, phaser? What do I want? You can turn it on, mod. When I turn this on, there's a button, there's a light here that turns on. This light turns on. Everything lines up. It's real easy to understand. And then here are my parameters for the mod. And all these descriptions here tell you what's happening, okay? Pretty easy to understand. It's a little bit like having stomp boxes, but you don't have all the headache that you have when you have a dozen different stomp boxes. And here's a picture of the ME-90, sorry, ME-90 again. Again, when I put that up there, it seemed like the thing to do. Okay, this is what your signal path is inside the ME-90. You've got a violin that plugs into this thing. When Boss did the graphic, they did the graphic all wrong. They had a guitar there. And I'm like, that's very silly. Guitars are silly instruments. Let's run a violin into this thing. So a violin runs in and it hits the pedal effects first. So that's this guy. This is your expression pedal. And here are all your different pedal effects. There's a switch under the toe of this. So if you smash down on the toe of that, you can feel the toe switch click. And it goes from a volume pedal, which it is when it's not clicked. It goes from a volume pedal to whatever you pick here. And so there's a bunch of whammies here. There's plus 1 octave, plus 2 octaves, minus 1 octave, minus 2 octaves. So you can go wee, 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 wee. If you want to sound like Tom Morello, you can do that. There's a voice simulator, there's a wah pedal, a freeze pedal, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. And I don't have my reading glasses on. I can't see any of it. We're just going to pretend that it's amazing. Okay. So that's the first thing that you hit in there. And then it's got all these other ones. And we're actually going to go through all of those in order. In the meantime, the first thing I want to do, I want to check out some of these questions. So let's answer some of these questions. Hello. Is there equivalent of the AC preamp? I don't know. You'd have to look and see you'll have to look in the manual and see which one these models are, because they don't call it an AC. They call it something else. And then there are a bunch of like hidden features. So and I was going to talk about this later, but I'll talk about it now. If you go into the Boss Tone Studio, which is their free software you download from their website, and connect it through the USB, when you go to the preamp section, there are the 11 or whatever preamps that are here, and then there are several more that are hidden in Tone Studio, and you can substitute them for some of the ones that are here. And it's the same thing with a bunch of these other effects. So if you hook up the Boss Tone Studio, it's free, it's easy. You actually have access to more effects than what it shows on here. So I don't know if there's an AC or not, but we'll get to another cool feature on that in a minute. Yeah, so Boss has, in the ME-80, they were using the best modeling technology they had when they developed that pedal. They have developed better modeling technology, and all of that new modeling, it was a COSM model is what they called it, and this is the Air D. It's just a higher definition model. They're better models. They're now like the reverbs are better, the delays are better, the choruses are better, etc. Yes, it's like having an effects bus for each stomp. Yes, absolutely. Does it have the option to power with batteries? Yes, in fact, it does. In the back, right here. You can open this up and you can put batteries in there. Also, the ME-80 weighed about 7.5 pounds. This weighs about 6.5. Look, you can throw it Look how light it is. All right. That was really dangerous. All right. So, okay, we will go to the next thing. So the pedal effects, there are 11 different pedal effects, octavers, wah, there's a freeze. You can use the expression pedal to control all that. And here is a quick video just listening to the wah pedal. Ready? Go. Aw, that's so cute. I actually made one of these for each one of these little sections, so you guys are going to get to hear that. Can you patch stereo delays? Yes, the whole thing is in stereo. So you can run mono. If you just go into the mono output, it'll sum everything to mono. If you plug in both, then it goes to stereo. Doesn't that make you happy? It makes me happy. 1 second. Cheers. Sorry, my voice is getting dry. What's next? I shot all this in like I shot all like an executive summary of this earlier today, and it's going to be live on YouTube in about 16 minutes. And I was rushing through all this because you're trying to, the YouTube videos, the shorter you can get them, the better. Like more people are engaged. And I got to remind myself that I don't have to be so uptight right now. I've been doing a lot of TikToks, and in TikToks, you're doing like 5 or 6 second video clips and you're like stringing them all together. It's been way too long since I like did a live stream where I could just relax. In with a good air, out with a bad. All right. Now I feel better. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they actually have, there is an effect called humanizer. I've not messed with the humanizer effect. I'm a little scared. I'm a little scared if I do, like there's going to be an AI or something that's going to come out and do my taxes all wrong or something. But as opposed to when I do them. So yes, like to hear me play my violin. Ooh. Through a JCM 900. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can hear a little bit of that. The Matt Bell Violinist YouTube channel, I do have some stuff up where I'm kind of throwing down a little bit. Does it have a function of the loop station like the RC600? So yes and no. It does have a loop station. It's a 1-button looper. The RC600 is not a 1-button looper, and it is not a 1-channel looper. For $350, you have to be a little bit like, you can't be like, I need a 6-channel looper. Sorry, you can't have that in a $300 pedal. But you get a 1-button looper. Honestly, seriously, for $350, like some of these pedals cost more than that by themselves. So I feel pretty good about the fact that it has a looper in it at all. It's not like crazy. It's a 1-button looper. It's 38 seconds, but you can do overdubs and all that. It's pretty good. Yeah, basically it's a free looper. What about the feedbacker? Yes, it does have a feedback. In the FX1, there is a feedbacker, and I was just experimenting with that today a little bit. And it's pretty cool. The way the feedbacker works is that you select it, and when you hold this button down, then it starts taking off on you, which is kind of cool. I see by your picture you're a guitar player. If you are a guitar player, you need that. If you're a violin player, you don't need that. We have this amazing thing called a bow, and we can just do all the feedback stuff we want without needing a feedbacker. I don't have a violin tuned. Maybe I do. I don't have one plugged in, but I'll show you how we do it. You know, we can just do it right here. Yeah, we can feedback all day long because we got a bow. It's cool. Yes. Yeah, that is very cool. yeah, you can replace some of these effects with the ones you want that are free in the Boss Tone Studio. It's really cool. The next thing in a signal chain, as I'm going down my slide, I got these slides here. I got to use them. I put them together. I got to use them. I'm going to do my slides, and I'll answer questions. But there after the pedal effects, the next thing that it hits in the signal chain is FX1. It's got a compressor, it's got a bend, it's got an auto wah. That's where the feedbacker is. All that. Again, you select which effect you want. With this knob, you use these three to control the parameters, and you turn it on and off with this little foot switch here. Very, very intuitive. And here's, I don't remember which effect I used, but I used one of them. So here's probably 5 seconds of that. That would be an auto wah. Now I remember, and I heard it. So the next one that it hits in the signal chain is the overdrive and the distortion. That's the best one, by the way. 18 different effects in there. There are 11 on here, and then there's a bunch of hidden ones, the hidden secret effects. It's like the secret chord. If you go digging around in there, you'll find that one that they were singing about in that song. So, yeah, all those things again. You use the knobs to control the parameters. And here, I think, is a fuzz pedal. I got to be honest, I like fuzz fiddle a lot. If you guys like fuzz and you like fiddles, you'll love Rob Flax. Flax is fuzzy fiddle. He's the fiddle fuzz flax guy. Very flaxy. So, yeah, that's cool. If you like fiddles and fuzz, go check out my buddy Rob Flax. Cool guy, and he likes alliteration. One of the features in the Boss ME-90 that the ME-80 did not have is the effect send and return. It used to be if you had another pedal that you wanted to use in conjunction with your ME whatever, you had to either put it in front of this in the signal chain or behind it in the signal chain. And there are some effects that doesn't really work, right? So it now has a send and return. There are 2 different spots in the signal path that with the Boss Tone Studio software, you can move that effect send and return to one of 2 different spots. And I think you can change it per preset. So if you have a preset, you can have it in the first spot. Another preset, you can put it in the second spot, if I remember correctly. But the fact that it's got a send and return at all, dig it. I like that a lot. So that's very cool. That is a definite improvement from one to the other. A cello range starts at 40 hertz. No, it does not. I don't think so. Could be wrong on that. I don't think it does. I don't think it's quite that low. But yes, it does. I actually did a review video of this. If you go to, what's buzzing? I wish I was buzzing. If you go to our YouTube channel, when I'm done here, there is a video that I put up announcing the ME-90. And I did the review for that with a 7-string violin, which actually goes lower than a cello. So yes, so you can hear violin range, viola range, and cello range all in one instrument. And I wanted to make sure that you guys would be able to hear, because cellists ask all the time, hey, talk a lot about violins. Does it work for cello too? So I did the review with a 7-string violin so that you could hear what it would sound like on a cello as well. So, hey, thanks, George. I appreciate that, buddy. So, yeah, I don't think the cello goes all the way down to 40. I could be wrong. I don't have that in front of me. I know violin, 4-string violins at 196. 5-string is at 160. So I think the cello is actually at 80. I think it's at 80 hertz. But if you use an octave pedal below your cello, yeah, it could get down to 40. Now you're also, it will, the pedal will work at that frequency. Your amp won't unless it's got a sub on it. So that's the other thing to think about. Yeah, a lot of people will go, hey, this thing doesn't sound like, yeah, thank you, Dan. So the B flat string is like 58 hertz, which means the cello, the C on the cello is like 60 some or 70 hertz, whatever. If you put an octave below, yeah, it'll be down in the 40 range. So yeah, a lot of people go, hey, this pedal doesn't work at this range. The thing you've plugged it into doesn't though. So make sure that if you do want to use those super low frequencies, you want your low C string to really ring out. And if you're using a sub octave, you want that to really like rattle the neighbor's windows. You got to make sure you're plugging into something with a subwoofer, because the chances of your little guitar amplifier working down there, not going to do it. So yeah, and even people, oh, I want a bass amp. No, you want a subwoofer. So, okay, that was an aside, but that's okay. The preamp section is next. Oh, there we go, say solder. Yeah, okay. Yeah, tapping the thing, yeah, tapping the body of it will definitely go that low, for sure. So make sure you're plugged into a subwoofer. The pedal can definitely handle it, but you want to make sure that what you're plugging the pedal into can also handle it. Preamp section, yes. There are 11 different preamps in here, and I think there are actually a couple of hidden ones. I think I might have got that number wrong. In the preamp section, it's a little bit different. You select your preamp, and then you select gain on that preamp. You've got bass, middle, treble on there, and then the level on that. Because this is the deal that I am a little frustrated with on this, and they didn't fix this from the ME-80. If I have my gain and my volume both at 12 o'clock, picking different preamps is going to radically change the volume. So that's kind of poopy. I think it shouldn't be that way. If I'm going to have both of these at 12 o'clock and I switch from preamp to preamp, the levels should be level. Boss, come on, you guys have got to get that right. You got a lot of other stuff right. You got to get that. Like, you got to level your volumes out. I can't have one preamp that's 3 times as loud as the other one. That's bad engineering, y'all. Super happy with this pedal. That's one major complaint that I have. And here's the exciting thing about the ME-90, which is a huge improvement over the ME-80, is this little switch on the back. And let me show you this little switch. Right there where it says guitar amp and line, that little switch is very special. What that switch does is if you set it to line, it's going to put on a cabinet simulator, which is really nice. That makes a huge difference in your sound. If you put it to guitar amp, no cab simulator. Okay, so we're going to listen to this real quick. So again, if it says it's going to an amp, it assumes that you've got your own cabinet and it's not going to put a simulator on there. If you put it to line, it's going to assume that you're going direct to the PA and it's going to put a cabinet simulator on there. And check this out. Like, that was a stark difference between those two. And the only difference was that was the line versus guitar amp switch. So the cab simulator was on there. Now, each different preamp has its own cab simulator and it's automatic. So if you change from one preamp to the other, it's going to change your cab simulator for you because different cabs are typically associated with different amps. If you want to use your own IRs for that, say you've got a Celestion IR that you really like, and hey, I really like the way that speaker sounds, you can use the IR loader, which is a free piece of software on their website. You can use the IR loader to load that IR into here, and you can use that. You're like, oh yeah, dope. So I can put my own speaker simulators in here. Yes, 100%. Now, string players, when you hear me say IR loader, you get all excited, right? You're like, oh, wait. Yeah, sorry. It's not going to do what you want it to do for violin body or cello body impulse responses. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is that the IR is at the end of the signal chain on this because they're using it as a speaker cab, and you can't blend it. So generally, if we're using an impulse response for a instrument body, like a violin or viola or cello body, I want that at the beginning of my signal chain, and I want to be able to blend it. So, if it's 40% blend or 50% blend, You can put a violin body impulse response in here. I did it. I demonstrated it on that other video that I told you about that's on our YouTube channel. And that's, you can do that, but it's not great. So it doesn't do what you want it to do. So don't get all excited. I did. Wait, you can load your own IRs? Tell me more. It's not going to do what you want it to do from like a violin body impulse response thing. Again, it's a $300 pedal. You can't get that excited about it. Pretty excited about it for what it is, but you know, it's not going to replace a Helix. So sort of, you can actually do some control on this through MIDI. There are some MIDI parameters that you can control, and integration into those, not so much. I think you can use it as an interface. So that's cool. You can definitely use it as an interface in and out. So you could send your violin in through there to PreSonus or Ableton, and then you could send out from that to the outputs of this thing and then go out to your speakers. So I dig that. As far as like, you know, would you be able to use it for plugins and all that? I don't think so. Again, $300. Keep your expectations in the $300 range. It's not going to replace a Helix. All right. The next thing in the signal chain is the noise suppressor, the noise gate. Anybody who's worked with high gain stuff knows as soon as you turn that gain up, it starts hissing on you. The noise gate is in there. It's not like, where's the noise gate? The way you get to it is you hold the edit button and then you use bank up and down. Whoops, bank up and down. And then a number is going to pop up in here. And that is the threshold for your noise gate. So there are actually a lot of features like that in here. When you read you got to read the manual. You got to RTFM, y'all. Read the manual, and there's a bunch of like kind of hidden features where like I'm going to hold the control button and I press this and blah, 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 blah. And like, then like a little dude pops out of here. There's no little dudes popping out of it, but some numbers will pop up or whatever. And that's how you're going to be able to control some of the more advanced features in here. I like that because they're not super simple things to use. And if you're a beginner, which a lot of the people who buy this are, you're not going to be able to get to stuff accidentally to screw it up. So that's kind of reassuring, honestly. Oh, thank you, man. Much appreciate that. That whole concert, I actually recorded that whole concert, and I got to get all that off to get mixed. I mixed that one myself. It's kind of an okay mix. I've got to get the rest of that concert sent off to my engineer to get that mixed. And then, yeah, there should be a couple hours of that kind of stuff popping up. Would it work for fiddle 90s country? Nah, you can't. You can only use it for 70s country. I'm just messing with you, man. Yeah, totally. Yeah, 100%. This thing, you're limited kind of by your creativity is what you're limited by. Yeah, it's going to sound just fine. You can definitely make this thing sound good. And if you can't make it sound good, either you're not playing too good, you're plugging it into something crappy, or you haven't really kind of dug into it. And to me, when in doubt, here's another thing I'll tell people. When in doubt, like sort of keep your knobs at 12 o'clock. That's going to be a fairly safe place to start with your knobs. You know, you see some of these I've got not at 12 o'clock because I was experimenting. But, you know, when in doubt, start with these knobs at 12 o'clock, and that's going to give you a reasonable starting position. And then what I like to do is I've got a knob. I keep it at 12 o'clock to give myself a baseline, take it to 0, deck it, and then my ear will hear, okay, that's what that knob controls, and then you sort of work on finding the sweet spot. But yeah, generally I try to default to about 12 o'clock on most of those knobs. All right. Oh, you're plugging into a Bose or Dylan? Yeah, you'll be fine. The modulation is the next one on here. The modulation effect is the next one. 15 different effects. yeah, again, same deal. And here is an example of one of the mod effects. That was a very short demonstration of a chorus pedal. Here we go. I like the fact that get all the knobs and settings out of whack. Yes, it really is. Absolutely. 100%. So if you like doing a lot of like, I'm going to create a sound and save a preset, you can totally do that with this. If you like to monkey with the knobs, you can also do that with this. So super, super powerful pedal from that standpoint. And I keep saying, oh, it's only 300 bucks. It is only, what's 350? It's only $350. So you want to keep your expectations reasonable. But frankly, it exceeds any expectation that you could reasonably have for a $350 pedal. I've got stomp boxes that cost more than that all by themselves, and they do exactly one thing. So yeah, it's a pretty cool pedal. And I know I said I'm a multi-effects guy, but I also have stomp boxes because that's what I do. The next thing in the signal chain is the effects, or the EQ and FX2. There are 12 different effects here, plus EQ. Phaser, flanger, chorus, tremolo, harmonist, etc. Here's a quick video. That is a phaser, and you're like, wait, you said phaser, tremolo, all that. You said that twice. There was one before, and now there's another one. Yes. So in these, there are at least 3 spots in here where I see phaser, 2 for phaser. There's probably 4 or 5 on here for pitch shifting. And it all depends on where you want it in your signal chain. So I know it's simple, and I know you don't have to really mess with your signal chain, but if you do want to mess with your signal chain, if you're saying I would like to experiment with a pitch shifter before my amp or pitch shifter after my amp, you can do that by just, you've got that diagram. It's in the manual, RTFM, it's in the manual. Let's read the flippin' manual in case you're curious. So you can look at the manual and you can find out, oh, this one comes after the amplifier. This one comes before the amplifier. And I can experiment with where I want my pitch shifting to be. And then it's there for you. If you're not that advanced and you're not sure, I see phaser, you know what? Just pick one. It's fine. It doesn't matter. You're not going to hurt anything. So again, it can be fairly simple. It can be a little bit more complicated, and that's one of the things I really like about it. You've got some options. It's good for people that are not very experienced with effects. It's good for people who are experienced with effects. The next one in there, it's got 15 different delays. That makes Matt happy. Matt likes delays. George likes his chicken spicy. So I like a lot of different delays. I like very cool delays. This Terra Echo, which I didn't do a demo of. I think I did a whole YouTube video of a Terra Echo delay. That's like a Boss proprietary delay. It's a cool delay. Yeah, they're all in there. So a bunch of different delays here. I think this is the warm delay.
That's okay, no problem.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it. And then the very last thing in the signal chain, as it should be, the very last thing is reverb. This is another one of those things that's a little frustrating for me with Boss. They didn't level out all the preamps, and they give me 3 different reverbs. My Helix has like literally 50. So there's 3 different reverbs here, and the only parameter that you can adjust is level. You can't adjust length, you can't adjust pre-delay, you can't adjust any of that other stuff. And reverb's really important, y'all. Feel like they're kind of asleep at the wheel on that. But if you have this knob all the way at the bottom, you're in the room section, and it goes 0 to 50, and then bump it over one more, that's 0 hall delay. Turn it a little more, goes to 50 hall. Bump a little more, goes to 0 spring, and then all the way open on spring. So they sort of did the one knob to control the 3 different reverbs. Honestly, not a fan of that system, because bumping something could take you from fully wet to just about fully dry. That sucks. And those 3 reverbs sound fine. The hall sounds good, the room sounds good, the spring sounds good, but really only 3 reverbs, and you can't change any of the parameters on them other than volume. To me, that's a pretty major oversight. But it is at the end of the signal chain. You could easily plug into a Strymon or something and have all the 10,000 reverbs that you want. It would be fine. Yeah, that would be my answer, George, is that I would buy a real reverb pedal and put it at the end of the chain. Again, it's only $350 for this thing. That leaves some room in your budget for an actual reverb pedal, and that would be fine. Hopefully on the ME-100, it'll come out in a few years. They'll put more than 3 reverbs in it, and you'll actually be able to control them a little bit. They do a lot of cool stuff with delays, like I know you know how. Could you please? Maybe? Okay, maybe next time. See, the reverb sounds good. That's the hall reverb wide open. Honestly, I would like to be able to go wetter with that, but it's okay. It sounds good. It's fine. It's cheap enough that I got room in my budget to buy an actual reverb pedal and put it at the end. We did talk about the Boss Tone Studio. You can connect by USB, and let me give you a heads up. They're aware that it's 2023. They don't have the big square USB thing anymore. It's this little tiny USB-C connection. There you go. So my laptop has USB-C. This thing has USB-C. I've got a bunch of the big square, was it USB-A? I've got a bunch of those cables to go from USB-C to the big square one, the one we used to put in our printers. I had to dig out a USB-C to USB-C. If that's the biggest headache I've got today, I guess I count myself a lucky man. So yes, you do need a USB-C cable to connect to that. And then you can connect to Boss Tone Studio. You can do all your editing on there if you want. It is this is a pretty easy interface here, but the Boss Tone Studio, also an easy interface. You can save your presets. You can import stuff to share with other people. If someone's got a sound that they really like, they can just email you that file and you can import it into your ME-80. You're like, oh, that's great. Thanks for sending me those settings. You can save it. You can create a backup, which is wonderful if you're using a bunch of presets. And these are, hey, I've created my signature sound and I'm afraid some Goomba is going to steal this thing and then I've lost my signature sound. You can save it on your computer and you can have it aside. So if you lose your ME-80 or say you're traveling, I'm going on a tour, I'm just going to have the company backline me an ME-90. Every backline company is going to own some of these. Save all your presets on your laptop. You get to the event, they've got the ME-90. You download all your presets onto their ME-90. You play your show, hop on the airplane, go to the next one. The next city, they've got another ME-90 waiting for you. You just drop all your stuff on there. That's a really easy way to handle this. I like doing that with my Helix too. Yes, USB-C does give more power. More power. Makes it louder. That would be cool though. The next thing, BT Dual. This is another cool upgrade on this because, it is 2023 after all. This is an optional accessory. Is it focused here? There we go. Optional accessory. You can pull this plug out and there's a little piece you can put in there for $49.99 or $49.95.99, $50. For $50, you can get a little unit that goes in here and it allows you to connect to this through Bluetooth. You can then control it from your phone. Ooh. Or you can fly in audio. It doesn't have an aux in the way the ME-80 did, but like nobody's phone has an aux out anymore. So you can Bluetooth audio. Say you're going to play with some tracks. You just Bluetooth it from your phone to here. You can play along and do, I got an orchestra. Ha. So that's a cool thing. It's just a few extra bucks and all that. Good question. Where would I put my LR Bags venue and session in the effects loop? If I was going to use I wouldn't use it. I would just use this. If you want to use your venue, then what I would do is run it first. So from an impedance standpoint, what the venue does is if you're going to plug a cable from your violin into the venue, that's going to lower the impedance of your signal so that all of your signal comes through. You got that nice warm bags kind of sound that then flows into here. That's where, if I was going to use a venue, I would run to the venue first and then run out to the ME-80. Frankly, the input impedance, which is, I think I got 2 more slides here. The input impedance this here is 1 mega ohm. So not quite as high as the bags, but for me, like saving me from dragging 1 more pedal, it's going to be like 98% is good. I would just use this. I got into music because I'm a little bit lazy and really work out for me, but that's how it goes. Next thing, a looper. It does have a single button looper. I know we talked about that before, but somebody asked. You got 38 seconds worth of loop. You can do all the overdubs you want, but you only have 1 channel. Again, $350. You can't really expect it to be an RC300 or an RC600. And yes, you can do some MIDI control, and the input impedance is 1 mega ohm. I did all my slides. I made those slides. You're going to look at them. So there you go. I hope that was helpful. I hope this helps you guys understand what the ME-90 is, what it can do, how to work it, and answered any questions you might have. You guys have good questions. Thanks for hanging out. That's all I had. I'm going to wait a few seconds. If there's another good question or two, I'll answer those. If not, I'm going to go tip back a frosty beverage and probably shoot some TikToks because I'm an old man. That's what I should do. I should make some TikToks. If you're old, you should get on TikTok. I'm going to get the average age up to like above 15 on there. I don't see any more questions coming in. Either I answered them all or everybody who had questions got bored and left. All right. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. I dig the new ME-90. It's going to take me a minute to get used to saying ME-90 instead of ME-80. By the time I get used to saying ME-90, there's going to be an ME-100. But such is life. Okay. Awesome. Hopefully I will see you guys next Wednesday. I think I'm in town next Wednesday. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'll probably decide on Tuesday. Feedback control. So this does not have a super detailed EQ. The EQ on here is pretty broad, and it's just bass, mids, and treble. So if you need to do some fairly specific EQing in order to fight feedback, this isn't going to be the thing. Sorry. What's a good beginning Celtic song? I have no idea. I know I'm a redhead who plays the violin, but I don't do any Celtic music. Hey, 1 second though. Hold that thought. Eli, do you want to join us for a second?
Hey, yeah, what's up?
I have a question for you, Eli.
I heard Celtic music.
You did.
Oh my gosh, fantastic question.
Have y'all met Eli? This is Eli.
Hi, I'm Eli. That's redundant. So there's a couple great places to learn or to start with Celtic music. The 2 main types of tunes you're going to find are a jig and a reel. But I would suggest something like the swallowtail jig, which is a very popular jig with a recurring pattern. Kind of works like an etude. Might be kind of fun to get into. Will also help with the rhythm of things. There's also going to be some familiar tunes like the Kesh jig, which I believe Flogging Molly used in one of their songs. Got really popular. If there's a tune that you've heard before, it'll be way easier to learn and get into the groove of things. Good luck.
I was using my resources.
Hey-o!
Some would call that cheating. I call it using my resources. That's what I always told my teachers too. Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Maybe we'll have Eli do some Celtic violin teaching or something on one of these videos. That sounds like something you guys will want. Dump it in the comments. Let us know. We'll let Eli teach something. He's a nice fella, despite what everybody says about him. Oh, man. So sorry. All right. See you guys next week.